been a while.
I'm just really lucky we have a very active concert scene out here. But
It seems like it.
yeah,
I feel like you're going to concerts every week. You're not,
I mean,
but
during normal times, yes. Like, 2019, in 2019, I went to 12 shows in October.
In October only.
In October.
Whoa.
It was like 3 or 4 a weekend. But, speaking of happy to be here, this is episode 28 of the Halcyon Frequency podcast, airing for the 31st of July. I almost said 21st. 31st of July, 2022. My name is Blind, and I'm hosting this episode, and I'm joined once again this week by Jess. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I went to the dentist, but then I didn't because I got sent home. I visited the dentist.
You just said hi and then you left again.
Yeah, pretty much. I got sent home because I had COVID too recently. That's fair.
During the first year of the pandemic, I got sent home from the eye doctor because my temperature was abnormally high because I was sitting in a car during a heat wave on the way to the eye doctor. But Kiri is also here. How are you?
Yay! I'm back again. Hello.
Surviving. Returning from the land of the conventions.
I have COVID right now. Well, actually, I don't know. Like, I'm still in quarantine because Austria still does the quarantine thing. I'm fine. So I had mild symptoms, and it was basically like a cold. I still have that cold though, so it's still not gone completely. I'm all right.
Just kind of like a cruddy head cold.
Yeah.
Well,
I nap
thankfully
a lot.
it was mild.
It's fine. Yeah, absolutely.
It was for me as well.
We're lucky.
Yeah, but now we're sleepy all the time.
I mean, yeah, just before, because Jess said if we could have this recording a bit later because of the dentist appointment. So I took a nap. And it was perfect. I was so tired from today, and I took like 1.5 hour nap. It's great.
And then the appointment didn't happen. Sorry.
Yeah. All good, because I was already awake. Like, I think a couple minutes after you posted, hey, I'll be home anyways, I woke up already, so it was perfect.
Yay!
That timing.
You asking to record a little bit later, Jess, just maybe hit snooze on my alarm a couple extra times. So, I just kind of had
good. I felt bad. Like, hey, I forgot I have a dentist appointment. Hey, just kidding. Just like,
oh, it happens.
This is the worst scheduling.
It was like an hour delay, which it's not like it was like a 3-hour delay or something.
That's true.
So
that's true.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
That kind of delay is not a major, I think, impact on our ability to record a podcast, unless somebody's got like something specific happening in a very tight time window, which doesn't generally happen. It happens sometimes, but not generally. So
You're just keeping us on our toes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Making sure we're checking the Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of checking the Discord, we got a room on the community Discord that's going real fast right now. The Game Jam has started, and it's been kind of an interesting experience thus far.
I think it's so cool because I've never been part of one, and I'm not actually, like, I'm not coding anything, so I'm not a participant. But since I'm part of the team who's hosting it, it's just really nice to see so many people be excited about it. And now talking about what they've already done, and then somebody posted a video of like a block moving, and it's just really cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, I love game jams. One of my favorite like pastimes, just as a hobby, is to like follow, look for big game jams that are coming up, and then follow the hashtags. Like I really like, spotting a neat looking game jam on itch, and then just checking the hashtag into TweetDeck and just watching all the stuff pop up. Mm-hmm. And it's always neat seeing people's work in progress, like shorts over like the week or the 3 days or the 48 hours or whatever. And then like seeing the finished product by the end. And what's even cooler is often after these are done, the ones that do really well or get very completed often keep going for another week or two, and then they'll release it as a paid thing often. So it's kind of neat just seeing like these little short events kind of facilitate the creation of neat pieces of art.
Yeah, Absolutely.
Yeah, I have an interesting perspective on it because Solentre is taking part, and he's, for a really long time, wanted to develop games and only finally started becoming serious about it. And now he's doing it, and he's like, Jess, I'm leaving you for the weekend. I'm going to be coding all weekend.
That's really
Have fun.
cool.
I mean, there's definitely worse ways you could spend a weekend. Like,
Yeah.
you get
What
to
am
see
I
what he
gonna
gets to
do?
work on.
No, he's not
Play
telling me.
games.
Oh, is he not? He's
You're not
not
allowed to
telling
say
me.
anything.
Yeah, so he partnered up with somebody in my community, and the two of them were working together, and I'm not allowed to know. He kicked me out of the office yesterday so he could have a voice call.
Wow.
I am
serious.
intrigued.
Just from the point of view of like kind of I guess the person who pushed for this to happen and kind of, I did the write-up and made the page and whatnot and communicated with Fog to get the art together. It's really neat because like that's the first time I've heard about like, people like planning stuff the night before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got together last night, and I don't know what they talked about. I'm excited to see what they come up with.
Yeah, no kidding.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's gotta add like an element of mystery to it. Jeez. Yeah, the thing that's gonna be interesting though is like, we got 29 participants right now, right? And let's just say like 2 and 3 out of 3 of those ship a game, and we get 20 games by the end of that. That's gonna be a lot for us to kind of power through. But I don't think it'll take too long. I think it'll be okay.
That's true, but yeah.
We've done demo days before where we do what, like 30
Exactly.
games in a day. It'll be fine.
Yeah. No, that's totally right.
So
I can't
looking forward to it.
wait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to see what people do.
Yeah, I guess we'll probably do something either next week or the week after. And this will definitely be kind of an ongoing subject on the podcast, probably for a couple of weeks. I'm going to see if we can get together maybe some people who took part. Like I know for a fact that one of my old moderators, Lewis, is making a game because he participates in a lot of Ludum Dares. Maybe I could pester him. I used to host a podcast with him a couple of years ago. Maybe I could pester him, see if we can get somebody on who took part and talk to them about it.
Share the experience.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know what this is like from the other perspective,
Exactly, yes. I'm all for it.
Instead
Yeah,
of
I
just the
agree.
perspective of the organizers.
I'm guilty. I'm actively reading what's happening in the Discord channel.
I was glancing at it because I know somebody who just joined the jam like right before we started talking and is now talking in that channel. So
Yeah, I'm only half listening and reading the text, and so I need to not do that right now.
it's difficult while it's recording a podcast. But yeah, no, I think it's cool. It's exciting and looking forward to seeing the conclusion. And I would like to just point out that we have Pi followers on our Twitter account, on the team Twitter account. Someone needs to go tweet a picture of Pi. 314. But yeah, that's the Halcyon Frequency Summer Game Jam. By the time the next episode of this podcast comes out, it'll be over. It's got 2 days left as of the time of recording. By the time this episode comes out, there will be like a day left. So get your submissions in and go make something cool. I think that kind of wraps up the kind of intro for this podcast, unless there's anything else we want to cover before we dive into games.
No?
No? We good? All right. Well, join the Game Jam if you haven't. Use the hashtag Halcyon Jam. And that's not... we don't come in strawberry, so...
What about blueberry?
Maybe blackberry.
Mixed berry?
I could actually make a blackberry jam. There's enough blackberries growing in the alley near me. Put a Halcyon on it. Anyway, tweet about it on Twitter at hashtag Halcyon Jam. And when we come back from this short break, we're going to talk about the games that we've been playing this week. Back after this.
I'm much play stuff. Watch my shit on Twitch. Yeet.
And we're back. So this is still the Halcyon Frequency Podcast. We're talking about the games that we've been playing this week, or over the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks in some cases. And I just wanted to kind of start this little segment off by saying, I'm still playing Cheese Runner. I have 10 hours in Cheese Runner now, almost. And it's becoming not a problem. I mean, me and my whole community are like actively playing it. And every single time I stream it, it gets a new like highest ever player count, which is like 4 or 5. It's a very small game. You know, it's only a couple dollars, but grinding through those achievements slowly, which are turning out are quite hard to get. I've got half of them now. Some of them, like, nobody in the who owns the game has them yet, because one of them is like get 30 million in score, and the highest person on the leaderboard is 29 million. But you know, number 9 in the world with my best score as of yesterday. Pretty happy about that. There is 1, 2, 3, 4 members of my community on the top 15 on the global leaderboards. So if you want to play a cyberpunk ASCII synthwave drug running game about the underground cheese black market, Cheese Runner on Steam now. It's $3.
But you said it's a drug runner, so are you considering cheese a drug?
In this world, cheese is a drug. Or it's a black market underground. So when I say it's a drug runner, it's very similar to Drug Wars or Mafia Wars. Drug Wars was like a game that was like on calculators in the 80s and 90s, and Mafia Wars was on Facebook. It's basically just like go to part of town, and there's like a bunch of different zones that you can just click on. Go to part of town, buy a thing at a low price, go to other part of town, sell it at a high price, and there are random events where things get worth more, and the prices are all random. So it's literally just gambling, but like under the guise of a little management game, and it's a lot of fun. There's some very light combat in it and some inventory management, and you have to pay off loans. You have 30 turns or 30 moves before the end of the game. So I don't know. It's fun.
I saw you playing this last night.
Is it stressful?
Yeah, because you said you have a turn limit.
No. I mean, like the rounds are so short. Like once you like the first few rounds I played took about 10 minutes, but I can play around in 2 minutes. Like it's real quick. Because like I know what all the events are now because I've been playing it enough. So I can like literally just sit down and power through a round in like a minute. And the soundtrack is a bop. Like the worst case is like you die, which goes under your kill to death ratio, but it doesn't really matter because like you just restart. I don't know. I guess I could see it being frustrating. Like if you just keep getting poor dice rolls when you move to different zones and can't sell the stuff that you have in your inventory, that could be a little frustrating. But like, I don't know. The rounds are so short for me that it like doesn't even faze me if I have a bad round. Yeah. I'm just trying to beat that score. I just want to beat the dev. I want to beat that 29 million.
It makes me happy that you're hunting for achievements.
It's not even that I'm hunting for achievements. It's more just, hey, I'm trying to move up the leaderboard, but the achievements are coincidental, and a lot of them are like have like there was one which was like miss a shot with your drone on a cop because you can buy these drones which take out the police robots. Miss a shot 500 times. Yeah, stuff like that, and like I just got that. So there's a lot of those kind of like progression based ones that I'm just slowly getting.
Right, they just happen when you play.
I don't even think that the game would count towards your overall game score, though, because it only has 7 reviews. Like, nobody plays this thing. Oh. Like, we did the math because, like, the dev is the only person with one of the achievements. Because based on the requirement, they're the only person on the leaderboard that could have it. 1.9% of the player base has that achievement. So if the dev is 1.9% of the player base, like, less than 100 people have bought it. So, it's not... Not a very. We're playing more just to take over the leaderboard than anything, because.
Well, how close are you to taking it over? What's your high score?
We've got 4 of 15 slots on the top 15 leaderboard.
Awesome.
So we're trying to get 10 of 15. But
good luck.
My high score is 9 million, and I'm number 9. So I was number 8 for a bit, and then somebody I don't know passed me. So.
Shucks.
Jess, do you want to pick a game from your list and talk about it?
Which game that is closely related to cheese? None of them. None of these games are closely related. Well, sure, I'll talk about Tavern Master because I've talked about that somewhat. It hasn't been recent at all, has it?
It's been a while, but you have talked about it a couple times.
Yeah, I picked it up this week because I had nothing to play, and it's had 2 big updates, update 1.2 and update 1.3. 1.2 brought Tavern Games, which I haven't gotten into yet, but 1.3 has some little adjustments, like new lighting and a third-person mode. You can walk around in your tavern now, which is pretty cool, but overall, it's still Tavern Master. It's still very cozy. I don't know why. It's such a nice game. But actually, there have been a lot of changes to the game, which I love. Like, so many things that I complained about have been addressed. And I don't know if it's coincidental or just because I complained so
Take
heavily.
Credit.
Yeah,
You are the sole
because of you.
reporter of these issues and take all of the credit. You should always take all of the credit.
I'll take all the credit.
Anything major that stands out to you as a change that's been made that you want to be happy about?
You know, you can invert the bar now or flip the bar. So you can have multiple bars, and it's a pretty big piece of furniture. And before you couldn't flip them, like they could only go one way when rotated. But now you can mirror them to each other, and it's just like in my brain, like requiring symmetry. It's so much nicer.
So are they like an
sounds so
L-shaped kind
simple.
of thing?
What was that?
Kiri, you go.
Sorry. I was just saying, it sounds so simple. Like, that is such a simple improvement, but very nice. It's so satisfying when you want it the other way around.
Yeah, there have been a lot of like little satisfying improvements. Like when I first started playing, you could only highlight one piece of furniture and move it at a time. And it's kind of a meme now that I have to rearrange my tavern like every night. So I used to spend so much time like one piece of furniture at a time, but now you can highlight them all and move them. It's it's so simple, but like I love it. Stupid game.
I there's no better feeling than like, you know, loving but kind of, I would say hate playing, but like loving to hate on a game where you're just like playing it but complaining about a billion different things, but at the same time enjoying it way too much. And then like you don't play it for 3 months and then you come back and then half of those things have been fixed and you're like, yes! It's like the best feeling ever.
Yeah, but usually
that's
you
what
only
happened.
complain that much because you like it so much, right?
Oh yeah.
And you want it to be better and succeed.
Absolutely. Also, I've just been informed that a childhood classic of mine just released on Steam, so I'm buying this. A game called Revolt. It's kind of like, imagine Mario Kart but with remote controlled cars in someone's backyard.
Okay.
It's like an old, like late 90s, early 2000, and this thing was like the best thing ever when I was a small child. Very happy. Anyway, I just bought that.
I need to derail. So you
found an emote throwing button in Discord? Is that what just happened?
We found a button, yes. So I look at the Discord and suddenly Jess's emote just jumps up here. It's like a confetti explosion. I'm like, what is this? I've never seen this before. And apparently Discord has a button now where I can make emote celebrations.
Yeah. Huh.
It's really funny.
I see this. Well, here, have a bunch of CryptoPogs.
That's awesome.
That's Anyway,
right. Yeah. So your game, you're gonna play that immediately after we're done here, huh?
I'm going to launch this as soon as this recording ends and play Revolt, because Revolt is great. But sorry to completely derail.
Well, I think we did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
We did in fact do that. Let's get off of these rails and onto the Breach, because I played Into the Breach and so did Kiri.
Yeah.
Was this your first time ever playing Into the Breach? Like, did you play it back when it launched, or?
No to both of that. So I played it for the first time this year in March, actually. So super late to the party, and I played, I don't know, 1 or 2 streams. So I had 6 hours gameplay, and it was really fun. I don't know, didn't want to stream it more and didn't want to play it more. But then people kept telling me that, hey, there is a new update out. I think it's called the Advanced Edition update, with lots of new content, new pilots, new starting squads, enemies, mission, everything. And I had the same issue as Jess. There is really nothing to play right now. I don't know. We're waiting for new games that are interesting. So I thought, hey, I'll play Into the Breach again. And it's really funny because there is lots of new content. I don't know it's new because I'm just new to the game still. But chat kept telling me what is new, and it was really good. And I actually beat it. I was playing on easy, but then had all the advanced stuff enabled because it said only enable that if you're familiar with a cool game. I am not, so I thought easy, and then just let's add all the advanced stuff. And I actually beat it. It was really fun.
Yeah, I really, really, really like Into the Breach. I played it back when it came out, back in February of, I think I played it on release day, February 2018. Subset games are fantastic in that they'll put out a game, and they did this with FTL too, their other game. They released it. It was great. People loved it. And then about 2 to 3 years later, they released the advanced edition, which just like doubled the amount of content, and they released it for free. And it's the same kind of thing where you can like select if you want the advanced stuff on or not. Mm-hmm. And it's so really neat to see that they've done that a second time, keeping it, free, right? Because it's Subset Games is 2 people and a musician, right? So it's a very small team. And those games do extremely well.
Wow.
Yeah, I've met both halves of them actually at PAX. I've seen a couple panels with them. They're very, very, very small on the development side of things. I'm actually really surprised that they returned to Into the Breach like this and put out an update to it, because one of them, I can't remember which one of them, but one of them said that they never wanted to think about a chessboard ever again. After they released Into the Breach, they're like, I've been staring at this 10 by 10 grid for the last 2.5 years, and I don't ever want to look at one again. So I guess they must have taken like a year off or something and then come back to it.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, no, I as far as like the new content goes, it's Into the Breach to me remains one of the hardest games to stream ever. Like there's something about that game that is like my chat is one of those chats where they don't want a backseat and they hate that they don't want a backseat, so everybody just kind of tunes out. It's really, really, really difficult to stream that game for me, like almost impossible. But the advanced edition stuff is really neat. I beat it 3 times on easy, and almost beat it on medium. Into the Breach still has this one problem for me where like easy is maybe a little bit too easy and medium is a little bit too hard. So there's no real like, I wish there was like a difficulty between like easy and medium. But like the difference between easy and medium is they add 1 more enemy on the board for every screen. So it's not like they really could rebalance that much. But yeah, it remains a very difficult, interesting puzzle, and I really, really, really like Into the Breach, and the new stuff is cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I had a couple of...
Yeah, you should. I had a couple of fights where I thought, this is so easy, but then I had a really good team and upgraded my mechs and stuff. But then occasionally I would just break my brain over something, and it'd be so bad because I want to do it well and not take any damage, not take any building damage. And then I just sit there and go, okay, I can move this here, use this attack, but then that will happen. And I plan out that perfect move just to realize I forgot something. It's annoying.
I really like when you have what looks like a really easy move, and then you line up all your units, and you're like, yes, perfect, this is easy. And then you like finish everything, and you've made every move, and then there's like one bug in the top corner that's still like about to attack a building. And you're like, that... Oh.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Reset. Thank you for the reset button.
But it's so enjoyable. I really like it.
Yeah, Into the Breach is really cool. FTL is also really cool, but I don't know. I wish that game was easier to stream.
Yeah.
I do really enjoy it. I will be playing, I will probably do exactly what I did with Into the Breach when it released, which is I'm not going to stream it again, but I'm going to play it off stream a bunch. Because that's what I did with it when it initially released. I played like 2 days of it on stream, and then like a month of it off stream, and unlocked most things, and then lost my save file, so I have to do that all again.
No.
But, yeah, I got a new computer in between. But yeah, no, it remains to be a fantastic game. Jess, do you want to take one?
I realized as you're talking that I've played more than I realized.
I see you're typing, but that's fine.
I added some stuff just in case, right? So I recently tried Dinkum, which is that Australian Animal Crossing game that has kind of, I don't want to say like taken the internet by storm.
It's the Archplay Stuff roleplay simulator.
Yeah, it was all over the place for a few days, and everyone I talked to said they really enjoyed it. But I'm that person who played Animal Crossing and really wanted to like it, but there was so many things about it that just really bothered me. So I held off and I held off and I held off, and then finally I caved. I bought it, and it's really nice. I'm pleased to say it's really nice. It's relaxed, and you can just play at your own pace, and you can be successful playing however you want. Like you have to make money, right, and build up your village, which I haven't gotten very far doing, but it seems like you can just kind of do what you want. Like if you want to catch bugs, cool. If you want to fish, cool. Like it all works out. You can support your little economy on that.
After that intro, I thought you were going to say that you also don't like it.
No.
Yeah, that's what I was
that
expecting.
was unexpected.
Yeah.
So, like, my biggest problem with Animal Crossing is when you talk to somebody or you have to do anything, it's like, pause, menu, 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 dig through inventory, menu. Okay, good, you're done. And it's like, but no, this one doesn't really have that issue. Especially with mouse and keyboard, you can just fly through it, and you can set the text to move faster.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so it's just a little bit more fast-paced, I'd say. At the same time, more relaxed.
How much of a job does this game feel like? Because I got to be honest, my turnoff with a lot of these games is they very quickly end up just feeling like a job and not the kind of job that I want to be taking part in frequently.
I don't know. I haven't gotten so far yet, but from other people that I've heard talk about it, they say that it's kind of just like swallowed them up and they've just fallen into it and they've put so many hours in, so I imagine it becomes a job. I haven't played it again because I'm afraid of being like, I gotta keep playing. But I want to keep playing it.
How much Animal Crossing is this versus Stardew Valley? Is this something that like you return every day and things change, and if you don't return enough times in a week, your house fills up with cockroaches? Or is this more of a Stardew Valley?
No. It's like Animal Crossing meets Stardew Valley meets Minecraft, I guess. People keep comparing it to Minecraft, but I don't know about that.
Okay.
As far as I'm aware, there doesn't really seem to be any sort of tie to time. Besides, like, if you are building a building, you have to go to sleep and wake up to advance that. But it doesn't seem to have any mechanics as far... It might not be far enough. Maybe there is something. But it doesn't seem to have anything tied to advancing, like, IRL time. Like Animal Crossing does.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Because that stuff always really bothered me in Animal Crossing.
Me too. And Tom Nook is a crook. He's a panda bear? What is Tom Nook?
He's running a company town.
Isn't it like a raccoon kind of thing?
Oh, he's a raccoon, yeah.
I always thought he was a red raccoon, yeah.
He's crooked. There's, the equivalent of Tom Nook in this, but she seems a lot more down to earth. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the veil will come up and she's actually evil, but...
I'm very sad I can't play it because that sounds like a game that I would very much enjoy. But the camera, and you can't really change it. Like I would need to zoom out way more and kind of change the camera angle. And yeah,
it's weird because it looks like the sort of game where you would be able to lock the camera.
Yeah, I asked if G, because if G was streaming it lots, and I asked her to go through the settings for me, but no.
Odd.
Yeah.
It might be worth reaching out to the developer. I know it's pretty sure it's a single person dev team, and it just came out in early access, so maybe.
Yeah, if
Oh,
they
true.
could have,
If it's early access.
if they could have perspective locks, that would probably fix problems, I would guess.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
chances are good that they're gonna add some accessibility options if it's only early access now.
Yeah,
Speaking
for
of
an early access game, it feels really good.
Awesome.
Doesn't look like an early access game, I'll say that. Looks more finished than some finished games. Looks more finished than like Rune Factory. So it's nice to see that. Like, I love that in the past, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years, maybe 6 years even, like farming sims like that have just become a genre unto themselves. Like these little town builders that aren't quite town builders. It's neat. It's neat when new genres become popular and stick around that aren't just like, so you have a gun and you're on top of a building this time, and then you fall off the building. Which is like, you know, most Battle Royale games.
True.
That's what you were comparing this to. My first thought was Grand Theft Auto 3.
Is that the last game with a gun in it that you played?
No, but it was the one that I have the most experience having a gun on the top of a building with.
I don't know. I so many games are just like, you have a gun, but you do this with it. And it's nice to, I don't know, have a shovel, a pickaxe. It's much more dwarfy. Which I'm not going to talk about. But I am going to take over this for a second and talk about Urbek City Builder. Because I played a good hefty chunk of Urbek City Builder. I probably played about as much of Urbek as Jess had on the last episode. Like, I played about 6 hours. That game is neat.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you didn't like it because when I came to your channel, you didn't seem like you were liking it.
I was very annoyed with a lot of things with it when you tuned in. So my biggest complaint, well, I do have complaints. I have quite a few complaints about this game. This is one of those games where, like, you know how I just said Dinkum doesn't look like an early access game? This feels like an early access game. Like, this feels like it's missing a lot of stuff. There's a lot of very default Unity menus in there. There's a couple menus actually that have like scroll bars that if you scroll with the mouse wheel, that you can just infinitely scroll. And like the UI will just keep going, and you'll have to scroll all the way back to bring it back. So stuff like that.
You keep scrolling, but there's nothing there?
Yes.
Oh.
But like, it's not like you keep scrolling, but there's nothing there, and you just like scroll back and the menu comes back down. Like, you can just keep scrolling. Like, let's just say you scroll down for like a minute. You'll have to scroll up for a minute to get back to the menu.
Oh no.
So there's some weird quirks in this game. One of the bigger quirks is something that, because like this game's a city builder, right? It's a very goal-oriented, stats-oriented city builder. And in that way, it's actually very good. I think that the way the building layouts to feed buildings to other buildings and have everything within proximity to build up stuff is really cool. I think that is very satisfying. There's definitely a good game loop there. I don't quite have all of the formulas wrapped down in my head, but it's sorely lacking in things like overlays to make it very clear what is where and where each building is. Like, I want an overlay for every single building type. Because like SimCity 3000 had this, where like in this game, they have like their strategical menu where like it removes all the graphics and replaces every building type with a color. But that doesn't quite do it because there's no color key, so I don't know what anything is. So what...
I could see that being very helpful.
There's a lot of features that like SimCity 3000 and 2000 had, and these are games from like 2001, that this game doesn't have, that this game sorely needs. It doesn't display its information very coherently. It's like if I build, let's just, because like you can build farm fields, right? And then you can build farm huts along the back of the farm fields that only need to be touching 2 farm fields in order to be built, and they increase the production of the field, right? And they're basically just like worker houses for people who work on the fields. And I want, when I click on that building type, I want it to open up the radius for every other farm hut. And when I open a farmhouse, which is different, and they can't have another farmhouse within a certain radius, I want it to pop up the radius for all of those other farm huts on the screen so that I know exactly where they are, instead of having to be like, I think that's one because it looks almost identical to the other farmhouse. So let's until it turns green. Done. Place it there. I want to know where all those radiuses are, and it doesn't do that, and that bothers me. The other thing that really bothers me about this game is all of the music is from a no copyright sounds music pack that I bought on Humble like 3 years ago. So I know all the music very well, and that was a bummer real quick. It's sort of like Citizens Farlands had all of the music in that game is purchased off of the Unity store. And
we do not talk about the music of Citizens Farlands.
Okay.
Not
noted.
with me on the podcast.
Like, music is important in video games, and it sucks when you sit down and you go, oh, I've heard all of this before. And I think this is mostly like a content creator problem, right? Because we play a lot of games. We play way more games than most people. Most people aren't even going to notice this as an issue because the music's fine. But it drives me nuts when I run into that, and it's a kind of a deal breaker. So once I turned off the music and put on SimCity music, the quality of the game improved dramatically because I could just like, yeah, city build, let's go. And it's funny because like I was watching Bellator the other day, and he did the exact same thing. So Urbek City Builder, needs a lot of quality of life stuff, but the core of that game is really, really cool, and it
really
was kind of
it.
Yeah, it was kind of a frustration play for me because it's like, man, this is really good, but I see so many problems here. It's very the team's from Chile, the people who made it, and it's a very small team, and it seems to have done all right. So I know they've posted a roadmap and stuff, and I think that's one that I would wait for a couple of updates and then go back to because it really needs that kind of quality of life to make it feel like a pleasant game to play. Otherwise, it's a really cool game with some annoyances.
Is that version 1?
Yes.
Was that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a full release. It's one of those weird, like, almost game mill publishers that, hold on, if I look at it. Yeah, it's Rock Game SA, which I think are affiliated with Playway SA. They put out Cowboy Life Prologue recently. But yeah, they're one of those kind of strange publishers that just pumps out a lot of odd things, I would say. But yeah, I mean, there's a prologue for it, which has been around for a while and is still out and playable. So if you want to try it, go play the prologue. See if the annoyances are fine. Oh, and on the topic of motion sickness and feeling ill, Urbek has like this nice isometric camera by default, right? It's like, it looks like SimCity, right? You can rotate the camera. It looks nice. There is a option that it makes you go into, which is a free camera mode where you can rotate the camera wherever. I don't know what the hell they did to the FOV on that, but holy crap, that's Vomit City. Like, you just push that button, it's like, whoosh, it like warps the camera in a weird way. It's not pleasant. It also has a first-person camera mode, which is maybe worse. So, just leave it locked.
Yeah, that makes sense. I played the demo a while back during a Steam Next Fest, and I enjoyed that.
I really like it. Now I want to play it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna play more of it this week. Like, it's a cool game. Like, it's definitely the sort of thing where I think every time I play it, I will start a new city because, like, I filled up a large map in like 3 hours. Like, it's a pretty quick city builder. Feels like old school SimCity, and that's really cool. It's been a long time since I played a city builder that feels like old school SimCity.
That's good.
Especially when you put on the SimCity music.
I mean, that certainly helps, right?
I don't mind the music so much. I guess I just...
You didn't buy the music pack that includes chill city music.
I didn't.
I feel like I need to explain my comment about the music in Citizens Farlands.
I was wondering.
Yeah, so it became a whole thing on my channel, and it's a very sensitive topic to me now. I like the game, but it has nice background music, like chill, I don't know, tunes. Unremarkable, I'm gonna say. It was nice in the background. But then when you zoom in on turtles on the beach, you get reggae music that overlaps the chill background music, and then you have two different types of music that don't fit on top of each other. And it's driving me nuts. It's still driving me nuts now that I don't play the game, but you zoom out, it's fine, just the OST of the game. You see turtles, you zoom in on the turtles, because, I don't know, you want to look at them or you want to build something there, and you get the reggae music overlapping the other music. Why?
There's some game that did this. I can't think of what it is. It was really annoying.
It's horrible. I had the developer in my stream. He didn't quite understand my issue. I hope he's going to change it, because then he said, they said, I don't know, they said, I can probably turn off the SFX and then that would go away. But like, that's not the point, right? What is the point? So it might be a reference to something. But it was absolutely disturbing. My chat hated it and I hated it. But then I figured out you can build a building on top of those turtles and make them go away.
Oh no,
so I became a turtle murderer in my stream.
And anti-turtle agenda.
Whenever I saw a turtle, I would immediately build something on top of it just to make it go away. There are quite a lot of funny clips of me just saying, "Die, turtle! Be gone, turtle!" So
poor turtles.
I mean, yeah, but like, what's with the music? Oh.
It's really bugging me that I can't think of the other game that does this.
Since we're talking about Citizens Farlands, I'll just say that I didn't like that game at all. That's a game I didn't like. I've had key for it forever. I enjoyed the first half of it, and then I got to the missions where there's also combat, and it just kind of became too much, and it wasn't fun. Is the way I would say. Like, I didn't play any of it on stream. I played about 2.5 hours of it off stream. Because I was going to do a video for YouTube, and I just kind of got to a point where I'm like, man, this is just bumming me out. It's like the little dude talking, that voice is really annoying, and you can't turn it off. And the city building didn't quite feel as satisfying as something like Islanders. And it just really made me want to go play Islanders, which is a little bit lighter. And it was just a little bit too free, flowy, and a little bit too floaty to feel good like Islanders did. But because there's a lot of production chains and a lot of things you need to be working towards, and you have to be very precise, it just didn't feel good. Yeah. And a game like that is all about feel, which is kind of a bummer, but I mean, it is the dev's first game. So I'd be really curious to see what he does next. I
didn't mind the gameplay so much, but I had a lot of issues with just how it's handled. Like the chat almost timed me how long I would play before rage quitting, because I had so many complaints about it. It's one of those games that takes your OS region and then sets a language. So my OS is in English, but my region is Austria. So I have several indie games that start up in German. And then I had one that was a demo, actually, where I couldn't change it. It just didn't work. So I had the game in German. Here I could change it, but I had to skip out of the tutorial, go back to the title screen, and then go to the settings to be able to change the language. And that is so annoying. Anyway, there were lots of things, but like gameplay-wise, it was all right.
Yeah, it's a neat little thing. I mean, it's if you're starving for that type of game, I think it definitely scratches that itch. But I'm kind of not, so like I don't know. It was a bit of a pass for me. But like Dev sent me key for that because he was in my chat ages ago, and it was just kind of I didn't ask for it and didn't even know he was a dev. But he's like, hey, if you're interested, check my game out and send me feedback. So I did. I was like, please let me turn that voice off. And they never added a setting to turn that voice off. But you know. Is what it is. It's a cool game. Cool game.
On my wish list.
Yeah. Jess, do you want to pick another one from this ever-growing list of games?
I can talk about one very quickly, and that's Cuphead. I played the DLC yesterday. It's nice and hard. Hard and nice. That sounds lewd, but no. I did not. I beat 3 bosses, and most of like another boss challenge thing. I'm not sure. They sort of introduced like new battle mechanics, I think. I don't think that's the right description, but like one boss was hidden behind a puzzle, like an environmental puzzle you had to solve, and I started playing it, and like seriously, I had to stop because it was breaking my brain. It was so weird. Like you had to solve a puzzle, and then once you did, you like fall asleep and travel to somewhere else where it's just totally creepy. The background art was so creepy. Apparently, they did some like 3D recordings of some things in the studio, and then made that the background. It was like nightmare material.
Interesting.
It sounds cool.
Have you been able to play with Miss Chalice much?
I did. She plays very differently. And so I feel like it's situational, where like Cuphead or Mugman versus Miss Chalice would be more beneficial to play with. But if you've ever played Cuphead, you know, like you jump and then you jump again, and that's how you parry. She will parry just by dashing. So like in that way it's easy because you just dash to parry, but it's like my muscle memory is so ingrained that I keep killing myself in one character versus the other, like, oh, wrong button.
Right.
Like, oh no, I'm supposed to dash. No, I need to jump. And what else? She also double jumps. Like she doesn't jump as high as Cuphead does, so you have to like double press the jump in order to like move up platforms or like dodge certain things, and I kept getting hit because I would just hit it once, and she just has a short little stubby jump. But otherwise, pretty cool. They introduced new guns and new charms. That's how you play Miss Chalice, is a charm. So if you're playing as her, she has extra health, but you can't equip anything else. Like the health charms, and there's a new charm where you can recover health. I like that one.
I think it's really neat hearing people kind of talk about the delicious last course DLC for Cuphead, because people seem to be kind of in one of two camps, where either I'm only going to play Miss Chalice forever now, or she's fine, I'll play her sometimes. It's like, it's kind of one of the two. Because like I can't play Cuphead, I don't see well enough. But listening to a lot of different podcasts where people talk about Cuphead, who played all of the original and then a lot of this, or like some of the original and now are playing this, it's like, I've heard some people basically say that like this DLC is going to make the rest of the game playable for them because their brain understands how the dash parry works, but could never get the like double jump parry to work properly or in a way that was like
completely
convincing.
Understand that.
So like it's kind of neat that they've added a new character that, while isn't necessarily easier, it changes the mechanic enough that maybe if you never quite wrapped your head around the mechanic from the main game, I guess, that this will probably fix that or fill in that gap. And that's cool. Also, Canadian game, so thumbs up.
I can get that, like, or I can understand that. I'm still not sure to like this day whether or not Cuphead can parry going down, because I've tried. Like if you move him down and then try the jump, like I understand not being able to wrap your brain around it.
Yeah. But
yeah, she's cool. She's got like this roll mechanic that I can't figure out. That's one that I can't wrap my brain around.
I'd really love to try Cuphead at some point.
Yeah,
I'll probably rage quit very quickly.
I would pay to watch you and Mystery play that in co-op.
There's co-op?
Yeah, there's split screen.
How much will you pay?
Same screen co-op, yeah. I don't know, I'll subscribe.
I was just kidding. I mean, Mystery loves those games. He has never played Cuphead, I think. But like he's really good at those platformer games, and he loves Hollow Knight and Shovel Knight. He's played Celeste. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Mystery can carry you. You also get like revives if you're playing in co-op, but the bosses take more hits. Like they take.
I have never tried co-op,
fun thing.
but yeah, you can do it. Yeah, it's cool, and I mean, Cuphead's really not that hard. It is hard, but it's not that hard. It's more like pattern
Spatial
recognition
awareness.
and dexterity. And that's where I struggle with it. Is like I see one thing and like hands do another. But I also realized that like I can change the sensitivity on my controller. I was telling chat yesterday, like, I swear I'm going to the right and my controller's so sensitive that it's turning me back to the left and vice versa. And then I went into big picture and changed the dead zone and it suddenly became so much easier to play. I didn't know you could do this.
Are you a joystick or a D-pad player?
I was playing with a joystick, but I have this controller that Solentre bought. It's like the Xbox Pro, and the joysticks are so smooth that I'm used to like just cranking them all the way to one side or the other, but it like causes it to rebound and like flick the other way.
Because
you can turn that down.
I just have the normal like Xbox One controller, and whenever I'm playing a platform like that, it's always D-pad. But
yeah, when I was
playing, confuses me.
When I was playing Hollow Knight, people in chat told me that the pros, the speedrunners, always use D-pad because it's more precise. And then I've started doing that too, and it actually makes it easier.
Yeah, if I really like playing beat 'em ups sometimes, and that's part of the reason why I like Game Pass so much is there's a bunch of beat 'em ups on there. And a lot of those games, like, it's always D-pad for me. It's always D-pad. The only time I'll use the stick is if it's more of a fighting game type thing and you have to do stick motions to do certain moves. Like if I have to do like quarter circle right and stuff like that for on the stick specifically, then I'll use the stick. But otherwise, it's always D-pad for games like that.
Maybe I should learn.
I don't know.
Try.
Just an idea.
Maybe it doesn't change anything, but I need to ask you something, Jess.
Okay.
Have you seen the Cuphead show on Netflix?
Yes.
What do you think about that?
I did not like it.
Okay. I was wondering about that.
I did not like it. It was loud and obnoxious and kind of creepy.
Okay.
Nobody said anything good about it, so I skipped.
Yeah, because I tried it. Mystery and I, we watched like 2 or 3 episodes. And the art style, the animations, it's gorgeous and really well made, but it's so boring. It's like not interesting at all.
Is it like a little kids show or something? Or
I think so.
Yeah.
It's like slapstick comedy, but it's really bad.
Yeah. It's definitely not entertaining. So I was wondering what you think as a person who's actually played Cuphead.
Well, so it's not even really related to the story of Cuphead. It's like just Cuphead and Mugman in their universe, but under entirely different circumstances, pretty much.
Yeah, but I thought maybe you like Cuphead so much that you basically don't care. You just want to get more of that, right? Or maybe you're traumatized and you just can't stand it. Who knows?
Cuphead's alright.
Right.
I don't know about the show. I'm not that traumatized by Cuphead. I don't know. It's okay. I'm glad that I like have motivation to play it because now I can be like, hey, I've beat Cuphead before.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's like being able to say that you beat Dark Souls or something.
I died 1,555 times, but I beat Cuphead.
Damn.
Wow.
So, is there anything else that we want to talk about before we go to news?
No.
I have more games, but I can skip them.
No, wait. Sorry. I actually see that Jess has Ever Seen a Cat on the list. And we're friends on Steam. And I saw that you got achievements for that. And I saw the title of the game. I thought, that sounds cute. Do you recommend it or not? You don't have to talk a lot about it, but do you recommend it or not? Because it looks awesome.
It kind of depends. Like, do you like Where's Waldo?
Yes.
Then I think you might like it. It's a hidden object game where you have to find cats, and they are hidden within the artwork, and you have to find them. Is
it fun? Because I like those hidden object games.
I think it was fun.
I just opened up Steam.
I saw you laughing, yeah.
And I have them both ignored because there's 2 of them. Have you ever seen a cat? Never seen a cat 2. I have them both ignored. Probably it kept chucking them at me in the recommended queue. I was like, go away!
I played a building full of cats, which is the same idea. And then I got an email with a key. which was a very sketchy email. But it was just like a one-liner with a key, and I was just like, okay. And so I tried it, and what was cool about this one, so a building full of cats was 6 levels, and they were static, and once you finished it, you finished it. This one had different art, but then you had to play through it multiple times, and every time you played through a picture, the position of the cats would change. And so I just kept playing it until I got all the achievements. So that part wasn't very fun, but it only took me like an hour to do it.
Right.
I generally liked the game, but then I got into that like, oh my gosh, I gotta achievement hunt this one. And that kind of took the fun out of it, but it was cute. I think it would be really good for like kids.
Did either of you play Hidden Folks?
No.
Because Hidden Folks is the Where's Waldo game that I would recommend. It's all like drawn, like hand drawn, and all of the sound effects are made by the developer's mouth. And everything
in my library, Blind.
Everything in the world makes a sound when you click it.
Hidden
and
Folks.
Most things move. It's a little bit more expensive.
Where did I get this from?
It's $15.
I'm just looking it up.
It's been in a couple Humble Bundles, so maybe you got it from there. But yeah, no,
it's overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah, everything in the entire world you click, it makes a sound, and they're all by the developer's mouth. So if there's like a car door, it'll be like cha-ching conk, cha-ching conk when you click it back and stuff like that.
That sounds really cool.
I'm gonna play this one now.
You're welcome.
On wish list.
But I think it's time for us to go to news. So
sorry to drag us out.
It's fine. We're going to go to a real quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some quick news stories, and then that'll be it for the podcast. So we'll be right back right after this short break.
Hello everybody, I'm FG Squared over on twitch.tv. I play a wide variety of games Mondays through Fridays starting at 9 a.m. BST, which is 4 a.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Central European Time. So come on over and check me out. See you soon.
And we're back. This is the news section of the Halcyon Frequency podcast. I'm still Blind, I'm still hosting, and I'm with Jess and Kiri. And Jess, do you want to take this first one about Steam and graphical asset guidelines?
Yeah, so yesterday, Steam posted a news article with new rules for graphical asset capsules. So they have now made guidelines where before it was sorta in the air with what developers can and cannot include on their little images, the capsule that you see when you click on a game. And so you can no longer include any miscellaneous text like review scores or awards or advertise other games in a series or related content. You can't say if the game has been featured somewhere. It has to basically stick to game art and very clearly indicate the name of the game. The only thing they say that you can do now is advertise a major update to game content, a new seasonal event, battle pass, DLC, or similar content for the game. And I actually really like this. The reason why they implemented it was because they said the images were becoming too cluttered, ratings became distracting, and these were getting hard to read. Some things were misadvertised, no longer accurate, and things were also only presented in English, which isolated a lot of the Steam audience. And so I like this change because I have noticed this too. Like, what am I looking at? It's just a bunch of stuff, and I'm glad that this is becoming a bit more regulated.
Yeah, I think that there's kind of an interesting discussion to be had here because on one hand, it is really, really, really difficult to stand out on Steam, you know, and like a game a game that's doing this that pops up real quick in my head is Jupiter Hell, which has a little a reviews thing on there that says 92% positive. Which is accurate. It was 94% positive a couple weeks ago, and it moved down to 92 because their ratings go down a little bit every Steam sale because that's how things work in this industry generally. And it's really hard to get noticed, and it's really hard to convince people to click a thumbnail. And I think, like, I do agree that some of them have gotten a little bit ridiculous, and they have like a bunch of example images of fake games that they made.
Which are kind of funny.
Yeah, like they've been doing this a little bit. Like, I want to know what Guitar Billionaire is, but you know, they've got these fake games. They've got these examples of, like, you know, Steam Next Fest being at the bottom of an icon and up to 90% off for whole franchise sales and stuff like that. And it is very cluttered, but how? I feel like Steam needs to work on their discoverability, and I feel like this is just going to be an ongoing problem. Steam's become like YouTube, right? You're trying to get into the Steam algorithm and get a bunch of promotion so that your game sells, and that sucks. And as somebody who tries to compete with the YouTube algorithm all the time, like that loop is not fun. And when it's your livelihood at stake, you know, with YouTube and even to some degrees Twitch, and in this case, the sales of your video game, if that's your livelihood, then you want to do everything possible to make your game sell. I feel like Steam needs some sort of better sorting. Steam needs work right now. And it's nice that they're cracking down on this, because some of these, like, poster images were getting a little bit obnoxious. But on the flip side,
yeah, it's one of those things where, like, one person ruins it for everyone, right?
Yeah. But like, I think it's totally fun. Like, you know, as an example, like, Into the Breach just came out, right? And they've got that big advanced edition banner underneath it, right?
I think that's allowed, though.
Yeah, but it's also only in English, right?
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that's probably fine and allowed, but, like, okay, what about a game that is just going to put out a patch every 3 weeks, and none of them have big fancy names, and there's not a lot of marketing behind them, but they want to show it off? And if they're supposed to all be in English, then how are you going to sort that? I don't know. It feels like there's some improvements that could be made on Steam's end that could improve this, and I hope to see that.
I think it's definitely going in the right direction, though.
Yeah. I don't think this is a bad change. I think that there's, like, it poses a discussion that I think should be had.
Yeah, definitely.
Highlights underlying issues. I mean, if you actually try to go to the store and find niche things, it is really hard. It is really, really hard to get out of your, like, main discoverability store. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but, like, I have recently gone and tried to find, like, completely I don't know what I'm trying to say. Just things that don't have a lot of hype, maybe, and things that don't have any reviews, and I just can't find them. Just things that are under the radar. There we go.
Yeah.
And so I get why people do this, but
that's me in the entirety of the roguelike category, with the exception of, like, 3 games.
I haven't actually looked for a game on Steam in ages. As in just browsing the store.
If you, like, can't remember the name of a game, it's almost impossible to find it.
Yeah.
Because you practically need to type in just specifically the title into the search bar and click it. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense, though, with how many games there are.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when Steam hit 300 games. That was a big deal.
How many's on there now?
Millions?
50,000, 500,000. I don't know. I mean, itch.io has like 1.1 million games or something.
I feel like itch also has a similar issue with finding things, though. But maybe I just don't know their platform well enough.
Itch is pretty good because their tagging system is quite effective and their searches are quite effective. And also, it's pretty easy to find games on itch through Google because it is a website-based store. So if I want to find something on itch, I'll actually just go to Google, type in itch, and then approximately what the game is into Google, and Google finds it for me. But you can't really do that very easily with Steam because their web client sucks. So
it does.
that you can't even really use that as a workaround. And then usually what I do is I copy the URL into the itch app, which is the client that you download, and then I download it. But I do find it way easier to find stuff on itch than I do on Steam. But the next one is kind of a sad story. Anybody who was in old school Twitch might remember this name, who I think it's just me. But Kevin Lawler, formerly of Twitch. I knew him through community and partnerships and creator relations. I had the opportunity to speak with him at several TwitchCons, and then of Riot Games, passed away. So rest in peace, holy man, Kevin Lawler. I will attach a lovely write-up about it alongside of this podcast. So if you want to go read up more and send your condolences, or just, read the post or share it around to someone who maybe knew him. He hasn't been at Twitch for a while. He moved to Riot Games. It was like 2021, I think. Kevin was somebody that I spoke with twice. Doubt he remembered me as some random Twitch streamer, but he was a very gracious and nice member of the community, and was one of the original people at Twitch. When back in the day, when I would think about Twitch, it was all yes, Holy Man, Pluto, all those guys, Fish Sticks, the old school people that founded Twitch pretty much, at least in my mind. Even if they weren't there day one necessarily, they were they were kind of part of the explosion, that portion, that time generation where Twitch grew heavily. Yeah. And it's sad to lose people. So, and he was very young. So rest in peace, Kevin, holy man. We will remember you. Now it's time for some topic whiplash here. VR chat bans all mods and adds anti-cheat. So
do we know why they banned the mods?
Well, there's a couple. Crazy? There's a couple of reasons. So there's some major. Okay, so a lot of children use VR chat, right? And let's just say that I spend a couple of days downloading a bunch of mods and making a very, very graphically accurate sex dungeon for my room in VR chat. Right. And, maybe there's a password on it, right? And to get that password, you have to join a Discord. And to get the password from that Discord, you have to do some age verification. But maybe we're lazy one day and we don't do the age verification and a bunch of children get let in. This has been a problem on VR chat for a while, a very long while. And it's a problem that's had a lot of spotlight shined on it. Granted, on the flip side, there's a lot of really cool stuff in VR chat, especially through the mods. There's some really, really, really cool custom content in VR chat. This is a blanket solution for a major problem that needs a solution, but I don't think this is the solution. And it's very clear when you go to the VR chat page on Steam, because they've gone from overwhelmingly positive to overwhelmingly negative. Their overall reviews are mostly positive, and this doesn't count as a review bomb, because a review bomb is when a community outside of a game goes, I'm gonna downvote your game because you have they them pronouns. That's a review bomb, right? Whereas just a community saying we don't want to play your game anymore and changing the review to negative kind of independently of one another, which is what's happening here, isn't a review bomb. So it's going to be...
I was reading through these reviews, and it seems like a lot of complaints are the removal of accessibility mods. That's an sign language stuff. And yeah, they just have stripped it all. I interrupted you, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. It's really neat because or not neat, but VR chat was neat because it became an outlet for a lot of people, right? It's a social outlet. And VR chat scares the ever-living hell out of me, and I will never go into it. I've played it on desktop mode a couple of times, but I will never get into VR chat because There is so many things about it that I find personally very uncanny valley and frankly creepy. But for people that it works for, it is a social outlet. It is a place of acceptance. It is a place where you can go hang out with friends and party and do things that a lot of people maybe didn't get to do or didn't have the social confidence to do. And I think that it's a huge shame that this is happening, quite frankly. But we'll see if maybe somebody launches a competitor or if they roll it back. But currently it's looking like they're not going to roll it back. So
yeah, that's rough. They should somehow like tie it to the like when you make a Steam account. Actually, it's been so long, I don't know. But I would assume you need to tell Steam your age. And if they could do that with some kind of verification. Oh, it's 14. Okay.
What I think they should do, but this is coming from somebody who doesn't play VR chat, is they should have 2 clients. R18 client for adults, where all the drinking and the partying happen, and then the normal client, which is a lot more locked down.
Yeah, I don't know. That must be a better solution than just banning all mods, because if there are accessibility mods and other useful, helpful things, then people need those.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything, like performance mods, accessibility mods. Yeah. Apparently there's chill out VR that people are being directed to instead. I've never done anything with VR chat or anything, so I just reading through some of the negative reviews. Some of them point to this as a replacement.
Well, I mean, it's got 500 people playing it right now for Chill Out VR, whereas VR chat has significantly more than that still, 20,000. So, interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of Chill Out VR, but I'd be curious to see if like a competitor takes over. You know, if someone's just like, hey, we've changed our API, so all of your VR chat mods work over here. You know, maybe people will just move. But on a sillier note, Roblox put out a string of tweets recently, which I'm going to read. So this was on July 26th, tweeted by the official Roblox account. We are building towards a future where all creators can thrive. Any asset, including sounds, will have a presence in our avatar shop. Our roadmap includes the ability to add sounds by getting them directly from the creators and licensors. Users will be able to customize sounds for their avatars in the same way they customize clothing. Means they're going to sell it to you, right? Related to sounds, due to a licensing issue, we've removed the oof sound from Roblox and have created a replacement default sound which launches today. We plan to expand our avatar shop with a whole range of both old and new sounds in the future. More to come.
So I am somebody who has like never seen Roblox played, never played Roblox myself. I don't know anybody I've ever talked to who's played Roblox, but the one thing I know about Roblox is oof.
I actually had to Google it earlier so that I knew what people were talking about.
So, this is speculation, and I'm really sad that FG isn't here because she'd know exactly what I'm talking about. This is speculation here. But the person who made that sound, the oof sound for Roblox, is Tommy Tallarico, who wrote a bunch of video game soundtracks in the 90s, did some stuff in the early 2000s, including some early work at the Roblox Corporation and designing that sound, the oof sound. And then went on to do video game orchestra stuff. With like he runs a video game orchestra that does tours playing video game music. And he recently, in the last couple of years, became the CEO of Intellivision, and launched an attempted console, which is now officially a scam if you pre-ordered one, the Intellivision Amico. He was the CEO of Intellivision up until about 8 months ago, where he quietly was removed. Maybe it was 9. Actually, it was November last year, so a little bit longer ago. But he was quietly removed, never really officially announced. Then after a couple months, they were like, actually, he's no longer CEO. And now there's a licensing issue with Oof. And I'm really wondering, is he trying to get more money out of Roblox?
I mean, it sounds like it.
I really wonder. Anyway, I think that's really funny.
It is funny.
Anyway.
That actually gives some context to some of the tweet replies I saw. I saw something about...
I haven't dug too deep into them, but...
What was that?
I haven't dug too deep into the replies, but... So...
This is me knowing nothing about Roblox, trying to get some context. Just looking at replies and stuff, and I saw some complaints about someone named Tommy, and I was...
Tommy Tallarico is a industry legend.
Right. Okay.
Self-described. Yeah.
Okay.
He also said that people who didn't want to buy his console, which obviously failed, are gaming racists because they're racist against his console. So, he's an interesting fellow, shall we say.
Yeah, okay.
Charging like $450 for an Android box with crappy controllers.
Talking about consoles, did you get your Playdate yet?
It might be at the post office. I have a package to go pick up.
How exciting.
Otherwise, it'll be arriving sometime between yesterday and the 4th.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I should hopefully have it by next podcast. This has been a very long journey getting this thing delivered, let me tell you. So this next one is the story that I have the least experience with, because I was unaware that this thing existed in the first place. But Darkest Dungeon board game backers upset as Mythic withholds copies for more money.
Yeah, I never supported the Kickstarter or anything, but I read the article and it's really interesting because lots of people backed it. It's super successful. Like in the first day, they had like $1 million or so dollars, by the way. So they're making a board game for Darkest Dungeon, and the problem is that now that they're basically done and could ship stuff, shipping costs have increased, like production costs have increased over the years, shipping costs as well. And now they're saying that they're basically going to cover half of the costs, but the other half, the backers have to pay now. So they are requesting more money from the backers to ship the product. And people are upset about that. And it's difficult because, like, I understand it's now more expensive, right? So, like, somebody has to pay for it. But also, if it's any other company, you buy something on the internet, you just wait for it to appear. Like, they already paid for that shipping. I don't know.
So, I thought about this. Like, yes, you would think, oh, they raised $5.6 million, but that very likely started moving into stretch goals, right? Like the zone of stretch goals. In order to see those through, that probably incurred a lot of costs. And on top of that, like Kickstarter's thing, their policy is, well, basically when you back something on Kickstarter, you do so knowing that it might never be seen through to the end. Like, you have to assume as the consumer the responsibility. They're not a storefront.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like Mythic is in the right. I mean, that's not... I don't think the request is absurd. That's what I mean to say.
It's definitely not absurd, no.
Video games are something that are a very scary thing to back. Board games, on the other hand, are a very consistent thing because when you make a board game, you make a prototype, and then you know how much the production cost is going to be for that prototype. And then it's just you ask for the production cost, or in some case, they do the production run, do the Kickstarter, and if they do better than they expect, then they'll do more production run, right? So board games are a very known quantity and aren't really something that the prices generally go up on. I'm trying to think of like similar things that have pissed people off in the past, and then all I can really think of is like games that promised a Wii U port that didn't get them, games that promised a PSP port or a PS Vita port that didn't get them because the console ceased to exist in the 2 years that it took to develop the game. But like outside of that, I can't really think of like a Kickstarter that's like, we're going to charge more for shipping.
Yeah.
That's weird. Like it's an odd ask. And also like I'm looking at the amount that they're requiring and they don't seem that like it doesn't seem like that much, but it's also not nothing. So
well, in the article they're saying that they're actually covering half of the costs already. So yeah, it's not that much
Red
right
Hook
now.
is helping them out.
yeah, exactly. So you know, it could be worse.
I think if I backed this, I would probably just pay it and not think about it. But
yeah, I mean, they do say the shipping costs increased by 600% between COVID and inflation and Russia's invasion of Ukraine. I mean, I get it. I get
it. Considering the circumstances, I understand. I would just pay it.
I mean, pre-pandemic, it cost me $8 to ship a record from Germany, or €8 rather. It now costs $26. It's still cheaper than shipping from the States, though.
This is absurd.
Yeah, I mean, record label in Seattle, it's cheaper for me to buy their records from a redistribution label in Germany than it is to order them from Seattle. And that's like a 4-hour drive.
No, that doesn't make any sense at all.
It's very strange.
Oh.
It's like they just put it on like a public transit bus and ship it across the border. It's like, why is it $45? Anyway. I will complain about that elsewhere. But yeah, I don't know. This is unfortunate, but hopefully it doesn't damage Mythic Games. I think that's all I'll say, because like they do good work. Their minis are cool. They make cool games.
I didn't know that this was kickstarted. Honestly, this would have been really cool to back and now pay extra.
I mean, it'll probably be just up for sale, I would assume, or they'll probably do other runs of it if it's successful. But I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah, kind of reminds me of the Dark Souls board game that they made, but maybe they'll do Darkest Dungeon 2, the board game. You have the Dark Souls board game?
I do.
That's a big box.
Mm-hmm. I have a lot of board games. Actually, Solentre has them, but by extension, I have them.
Ah, makes sense.
It's a very big box. It's quite heavy.
But yeah, I think that kind of brings us to the end of what we have here for news. So what I will say is, if you aren't already, please follow the Game Jam room on the Discord, because there's some cool conversations happening in there in the Halcyon Frequency Discord. And if you are taking part in the Game Jam and you happen to have Twitter and you tweet about your game, please either at the Halcyon Frequency account at Halcyon Megahertz, or use the hashtag Halcyon Jam and post your tweets. Let us find them so that we can retweet and quote tweet and all that good stuff. But Jess, do you want to tell us who you are and where people can find you?
So you can find me on Twitter at WOHH_Jess.
And Kiri.
I'm Kiri. Yes, you can find me on Twitter as 2DKiri.
And I'm Blind. You can find me at BLINDIRL on Twitter, and you can find all of us in the description of this podcast. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. We'll be back next Sunday with another episode of the Halcyon Frequency Podcast. If it's not on a podcast platform that you like to listen to, please send me a DM and I will make it appear there. Although I'm pretty sure at this point we're everywhere. If you want to support this podcast directly, you can do that by sharing it on social media and leaving us an iTunes review, or a Podcast Addict review, or an Overcast review, or wherever else you can review a podcast, or like the episode on Spotify, because I think you can do that. Anyway. Thank you very much for listening.
Climb to the top of your highest mountain and yell it.
Yeah, the Halcyon Podcast.
That wasn't the tallest just mountain. As effective.
Yeah. Could take a megaphone
and make a video of it and send it to us, please.
That would be effective. You know, it's sad because I could actually do that, because I hike up a mountain on like a bi-weekly basis now.
No, that's not sad. You do it first, and then other people will do it too.
We'll start a
Bring,
trend.
like a traffic cone.
Yes.
And just be like, Halcyon Frequency! Anyway.
Exactly. It's going to be great. We're going to do that.
You'll hear my friend Kevin in the background going, "Shut up, Greg. Try to sleep." Anyway, thank you very much for listening to this week's podcast, and we'll be back in a week. Cheers. We can all say goodbye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.